Just getting this warmed up.
We're going to reading again.
Come on, Zoom. Come on, Facebook. All right, it's going live. Okay, we're ready.
All right, welcome back. It's now just after 6 o'clock, and the Select Board is here with Town Administrator Nicole McStay to run through the virtual town meeting 2021 question and answer session. I'm Tyler Ward again, still. Along with me are Bill Taylor and Ed Youngst, fellow Select Board members. Behind the scenes, we have Tim Bresvik again, taking care of all of our technical difficulties if they arise. With that, I'll hand this off to Nicole. Welcome.
Thank you. So again, tonight, this is the 2021 town meeting question and answer session. Just to summarize again, virtual town meeting, the Select Board adopted the provisions of HB 1129, which allows the deliberative session of town meeting to be held virtually in 2 parts. On March 30th, the Select Board held an information session to present the warrant articles. Questions and comments were accepted via phone, text, mail, and drop-off. In tonight's session, we'll present the questions and answers we've received so far. We will not be taking questions live over Facebook. We would ask that everyone continue to forward those to us via email to selectboard@peterborough.nh.gov. You can also phone us at 603-924-8000, extension 101, and mail or drop off in the mail slot at the Townhouse, which is 1 Grove Street, Peterborough, New Hampshire, 03458. When you submit a question, please be sure to include your full name and your place of residence. All questions and answers received through May 10th will be posted to the town's website, peterborough.nh.gov. Wow. Due to the COVID-19 emergency, all voters may vote via absentee ballot by checking the disability box on the absentee ballot application. Those applications for absentee ballot are available on the town's website, again, peterborough.nh.gov. For more information regarding absentee ballots and voter registration, please contact the town clerk. You can call her at 924-8000, extension 105. Email her directly to lguyette@peterborough.nh.gov, or send her a fax to 924-8001. And for more information on the 2021 town meeting, including the warrant, links to the full budget, absentee ballot application, these presentations, the updated questions and answers, and links to recordings of these presentations and more, you can visit our website, peterborough.nh.gov. At the bottom right of the screen, you'll see this box, 2021 town meeting. Just click the Read More button. Our first question is on Article 2, the zoning amendment. Question is, why was Article 2, zoning amendment by petition, not read at last week's reading of the warrant? It is on the warrant, and people will be voting on it, so I would think that it should be read. Please read it tonight. This comes from Stephanie Hurley of Hunt Road. The answer is that the virtual town meeting is meant to stand in for the deliberative session. Both Article 1, offices for election, and Article 2, zoning amendments, go through separate processes that are not subject to the deliberative session as outlined by Peterborough's charter. Zoning amendments follow a process which is outlined in RSA 675:4, whereby the planning board holds public hearings before they are placed on the ballot. Next question about Article 3, budget for fiscal year 2022. $15,817,741. Question is, how does the proposed police budget or any other relevant budgets reflect the input that was collected in the many conversations on racism and policing held over the past year, as well as the outcomes of the New Hampshire Commission on Policing? This is an opportunity to answer the important questions of so what, after time and money was invested in our beginning as a community to explore these issues together. Question was submitted by Mary Baylor Kaplan of Timber Pond Road. To answer, the proposed police department budget includes $15,000 to support a community resources specialist at the River Center, as well as $15,000 for officer training, which is up from $5,000 the previous year. Chief Kennard addresses the enhanced training that the officers have already begun receiving, as well as other outcomes of the New Hampshire Commission on Law Enforcement Accountability, Community, and Transparency report in his submission for the town's 2020 annual report, and that will be available on the town's website before May 4th, 2021. Next question pertains to Article 6, the roadway system upgrades capital reserve fund, $400,000. Question comes in three parts. Is rehabilitation of Pine Street scheduled and for when? What role might the greater downtown TIF play in funding the rehabilitation of Lower Main Street following the bridge project? And are there plans to redesign Lower Main Street or have it just reconstructed? This comes from William Kennedy of Pine Street. The answer, Pine Street is on the town's list of identified roads in need of costly rehabilitation work that is funded through this warrant article for roadway rehabilitation. As of now, the town is aiming for the completion of the Main Street Bridge project before undertaking any costly downtown roadway rehabilitation projects. This is for two primary reasons. First, the interruption in traffic related to the Main Street Bridge closure, though curbed by COVID-19, are not unsubstantial, and the town does not want to add additional inconvenience at this time. While the Main Street Bridge is scheduled for substantial completion at the end of this year, we are currently aiming for the summer of 2022 for Pine Street resurfacing. Second, Pine Street needs substantial work beyond just resurfacing, including sidewalk repair, curb resetting, stormwater drainage repairs and upgrades, and utility structure repairs and upgrades. To that, we have begun saving funds in anticipation of costly repair work through the Roadway Systems Expendable Trust. The account presently has a balance of $252,000. Money the town has been saving towards the needed downtown repairs, including those needed on Pine Street. Our aim is to continue saving a portion of the expendable trust each year so that funding will be available to deal with the related infrastructure in our downtown network. Paving and reconstruction work is scheduled following spring road inspection after passage of the operating budget and roadway expendable trust. Looks like one of my slides is missing. The question with regards to greater downtown TIF and the role that will play funding the rehabilitation of Lower Main Street following the bridge project and plans to redesign Lower Main Street, I can answer that. There will be a planning process that will involve substantial public input as well as input from the Greater Downtown TIF Advisory Committee. We expect that planning process to begin closer to the end of summer, beginning of fall this year. Article 7, Ambulance Revolving Fund, $400,000. Question, sorry if I missed it, but why the reduction in revenues and increase in expenses for ambulance services? What, if any, COVID-related funds from the state and Fed can be used to offset the reduction in ambulance revenue and increased costs? Again, from Bill Kennedy of Pine Street. The answer, as discussed during the ambulance service budget presentation to the Select Board and Budget Committee, there was a significant reduction in calls for service, both emergency calls and transfers, from the period of March through August of 2020. This drop in call volume resulted in almost a $250,000 reduction in revenue. And here you can see those calls in the top line, which is gray, shows the total volume of emergency medical services calls. The middle line in blue shows the 911 emergency calls, and the orange line at the bottom shows the transfer calls. These are transfers of patients from one facility to another. And you can see in the circle, which is red in roughly the center of that chart, shows where the calls declined sharply through the COVID-19 crisis. Once we realized the significance of the drop in call volume, we implemented as many cost-cutting measures as we could, but with less than 3 months left in the fiscal year, the 73% of our costs related to staffing, there was not a lot of savings that we could implement. We were, however, able to reduce the increase that year by 20% to 3.8% as opposed to the 4 years averaging of 4.7%. With regards to COVID-related relief funds, and if they can be used to offset the reduction in ambulance service revenue, we are still waiting for guidance from Treasury about how those funds can be applied. We do know that the funds will come in 2 equal payments, one which we will likely receive before the end of this fiscal year, the second a year from now. Based on the estimates we have received, Peterborough's first allotment will be less than the $400,000 this article seeks to transfer from the general fund to the ambulance revolving fund. Article 8, broadband build-out, $262,288. Question: have we gotten any feedback on how well the CCI broadband services are being received by Chesterfield, Jaffrey, and Dublin communities, especially in light of the page 2 article and the April 1st issue of the Monadnock Ledger transcript, detailing complaints of service and lower than expected communication speeds? Are we aware of possible infrastructure-related broadband funds available to the state and or feds? Are we aware of the potential limitations on those funds, referring to New Hampshire SB 85? And by how much will our tax rate increase if this warrant passes? Are there TIF regions included in the 20% of the underserved areas, which could be funded to use, could these funds be used to offset the investment to CCI? Bill Kennedy of Pine Street. Answer: our understanding is that 95% of CCI's new broadband customers are satisfied with their service. Some installations, particularly in range, were more difficult than expected due to weather issues, but those have largely been resolved or are being resolved. Our conversations with representatives of Chesterfield have been very complimentary. Other complaints have come from a misunderstanding of how best to measure internet speeds, particularly the difference between taking a speed test when directly connected to a gigabit modem versus over Wi-Fi. The second question, we are looking into whether or not we qualify for a USDA grant. If we do qualify and are awarded the grant, the Select Board can accept the grant through a 31:95B public hearing process and use those funds to offset the tax appropriation. The third question, SB 85 has passed the New Hampshire Senate and is on its way to the House. As it is currently written, it appears that it only applies to funds sent to states for support of broadband expansion and not to grants or loans awarded directly to municipalities. So the fourth, tax rates are notoriously difficult to predict because there are so many variables involved, the biggest of which is the total valuation of the town, which if you were watching the Select Board meeting earlier tonight, you heard us discuss. We expect the total valuation will change dramatically after the statistical update the assessing department will be undertaking this summer and fall. Having said that, if all things remain equal, the town portion of the tax rate will increase by only 0.5% if all warrant articles, including this one, are passed at town meeting. The funds being requested by this warrant article are to extend broadband service to unserved areas of Peterborough outside of all TIF districts. No TIF district funds can be applied to this project. Article 11, commitment to a goal of 100% renewable energy by petition. The question, will warrant Article 11, 100% renewable energy, raise my taxes? The question comes from Nancy Roberts. The answer submitted by the lead petitioners. No, this warrant article will not raise your taxes. In fact, with renewable energy costs continuing to decrease, we anticipate that the widespread use of renewables could help residents save money. The New Hampshire communities have begun to implement their 100% renewable energy commitments, have not raised taxes due to this goal, and all have saved money on their renewable projects. Question, will assistance or incentives, financial or otherwise, be provided to people who want to add solar panels or heat pumps? That question comes from Mary Ellen Bushnell of Timber Pond Drive. A similar question comes from Annie Henry. If this is passed, how can residents get renewable electricity if we can't afford or aren't able to put up solar panels? The answer submitted by the lead petitioners. NHSaves.com offers rebates, incentives, and tips to help homeowners to reduce their energy bill and be more energy efficient, including rebates for heat pumps. The federal government offers tax credits for solar panels, electric vehicles, and other energy-saving devices, with a promise of more to come. With passage of the article, we expect that town residents will be connected with resources that will help us reach the goal. Question: will residents be forced by Article 11 to buy expensive equipment like solar panels or electric cars? Submitted by Nora Pfeiffer of Village Lane. Answer: this article does not mandate the purchase of any equipment. This concludes the presentation. Again, please submit your questions and comments by email to selectboard@peterborough.nh.gov, by phone, or by mail, as you see here on the screen. And be sure to identify yourself and provide your street address so that the questions can be added to the town meeting record. All questions and answers will be posted to the town's website, along with links to the joint select board meetings and other presentations that will be posted that have been posted to the town's website. And we will be updating the website continuously through May 10th. And that concludes the presentation.
Great, and so our next step is voting.
Our next step is voting. So again, absentee ballot requests, the sooner that we can receive those, the better. You can get them into Linda Guyette. She will turn those around with ballots as soon as the ballots are back from the printers.
Great, and as a select board, we haven't decided what time slots we'll take, but are we going with the usual? I would prefer afternoon, evening.
Yep, midday is best for me.
All right.
And I think, I don't know, in the past, Karen volunteered to be a substitute for me in my absence. I'm not sure she would be eligible, however, now.
She will not be. She is on the ballot. So we'll need to find another substitute for you.
All right. All right, sounds good. Thank you, Nicole. And again, just a reminder for people to get questions in, and they'll get posted to the website with an answer. Great. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Good job.
Yeah, nice